Excuse me, taxi.
Okay, man, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
And joining us now here on Katz and Cosby is former senior aide to then Governor Cuomo, great Democratic strategist, Melissa DeRosa. Melissa, it is a socialist surge. What does this mean?
Well, great to talk to you, Rita. No, it's an epic disaster. Last night was a total bloodbath, and everyone is really focused on these congressional seats, these 3 congressional seats. But people are not talking as much about the fact that there was a whole slate of DSA candidates, socialist candidates who ran for the state assembly and the state senate against incumbents and in open seats, and they had a near perfect sweep there as well, which means it's going to be, harder for Carl Heastie and Andrea Stewart-Cousins in the legislature to push back, and it's going to be nearly impossible for Kathy Hochul to hold the line on anything. And so, I'm looking at the congressional races and what this means for the party and what this means for 2028, but I'm also thinking here at home in New York State, I think that they're going to be pushing hard to raise taxes next year. I think they're going to be pushing hard to continue to roll back things on public safety, and I think it cannot be overstated what a mess this is.
Wow. And so many things are going on. Are you familiar at all what's going on besides the politics, what's going on with that indictment or arrest?
With Frank Carone.
Frank Carone?
Yeah. I saw it. I'm sure as everyone else did. I have no firsthand knowledge beyond what I read. But
and Melissa explained to everybody who he was. Obviously, right hand to then the mayor.
Yep, he was chief of staff to Mayor Adams, and he had ran his campaign, was the chairman to his campaign in 2021, the successful race, and then again when he was half running, half not running in 2025. And, full disclosure, Frank has been a friend of mine over the years. I've known him a long time, as I think we all have. So, I feel terribly for his family. I can't imagine how difficult this all is, and I don't, I have no idea the truth and not truth. Everyone has their day in court, but basically, the upshot is that he was involved in steering a migrant contract to a hotel owner in an area of the city that didn't necessarily need the beds, and the hotel didn't necessarily meet the requirements for the migrant shelters. And there was a kickback of, I think it was $120,000 that was paid through his brother. His brother was also arrested. And then the brother, was kicking the money back to Frank. Those are the allegations. And so some pretty serious stuff. There were 3 arrests made there, the owner of the hotel, and then also Frank and Frank's brother.
Who was the owner of the hotel?
I'm not familiar with him, but he was this person who was involved in this alleged scheme. And then on top of it, I don't know if you guys saw, but there was also, these raids today taking place, these FBI raids on a number of former NYPD officers who are allegedly involved in a corruption scandal, which we don't, the details on that are murky because all we know is homes were raided. But it was, this morning, everyone, the only thing anyone was talking about was the elections last night, and by 11 o'clock, all anyone was talking about was FBI raids of NYPD officers and, this indictment of the former top Adams aide.
Wow.
So it's been a crazy day here in New York.
It has. And Melissa, I want to get back to some of the socialist stuff because I find it really terrifying. And like you said, it's a bloodbath. Also, you look at some of the other candidates. There's the Pennsylvania guy. There's the New Jersey guy. There's some in North Carolina. One of the things also that I found really chilling, too, is it's sort of our way or the highway. And in fact, Mayor Mondani said today, it looks like everybody's looking for a fight. Bring it on, basically. And then they were chanting at one of the victory rallies for one of these far left candidates last night, DSA, DSA, and then chanting when they saw a picture of Hakeem Jeffries, the House Minority Leader, Democrat, you're next. What does all that mean?
No, look, they're out for blood. Make no mistake. And the fact that you had Bernie Sanders and the DSA, which is Bernie's wing of the party, which again, I'll remind your listeners, Bernie isn't even a registered Democrat. So that to me is always absurd that he's sort of at the forefront of this movement within the Democratic Party. He's not even a registered Democrat. That they came in and they endorsed against incumbent Democrats in the sitting head of the congressional delegation's home district, like in his backyard, in his home borough, and also Adriano Espaillat up in the Bronx, that they came in and they endorsed against them, and they went toe-to-toe with them. And in this last election, it had been reported that Mamdani had made a deal with Jeffries not to endorse against him if Jeffries endorsed him in the general election, which he did. And then this guy, Cheosi, was almost going to run against Hakeem Jeffries, and Mamdani allegedly played a role in getting him to back off. But what we heard last night and what we've been hearing all day today is next time around, all bets are off. And so the DSA is planning to come for Hakeem Jeffries' district as his seat. And, I love Hakeem personally. I have a lot of respect for him as a leader. But just practically speaking, you don't look very strong when you lose your incumbent House Democrats in your city, in your state, and you're the leader of the conference. So I don't know what this is going to mean for him in terms of a bigger picture if there are DSA candidates or other people within his conference try to take him out from his leadership post. And same thing goes for, Schumer, who, the writing is sort of on the wall there. They're all out to get him. But it was a terrible night for both Chuck and for Hakeem in New York.
Yeah, that's horrible. Anything else you want to tell the million people listening to us?
No, but I will say that, look, these elections last night, elections are decided by people who show up, and the turnout was abysmal. And for people who care about the city and care about the future of the city and the state and this country, everybody has to vote. We can't just be mad about these things. We actually have to go out and engage and get our neighbors to engage, and maybe we can turn the tide. But it was not a good thing for sanity. It was not a good thing for, the Jewish population, which feels under fire, and that these campaigns are being run on anti-Semitism and public safety and in terms of our own taxes and affordability here at home. So
Melissa,
no good news out of today, John.
Thank you. Melissa DeRosa, keep working at it, and let's keep the truth coming out to the American people, and thank you very much for what you do.
Thank you, Melissa.
Thanks, guys. Okay, talk soon.